Gear, 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 tiddly, gear, gear, gear. Hello there, everyone. Welcome back down here to the Gamer's Den with me, your host, Jordan, your master of lore and storyteller extraordinaire, where once again, I am uploading a day late and $1 short. However, I still am here. We are catching up because, well, it wasn't anything bad. It's still good things that are causing the schedule to kind of flip-flop around a little bit. Some friends had a wee one in desperate need of celebrating, and we went and did so. It was a fantastic time. We all had a great time, but today we are going to be going over the equipment guide for the first edition Pathfinder Arcanist. Now, there are going to be some things that we're not going to quite cover. We're not super worried about armor or weapons. However, you are going to be going over a fair bit of the other kinds of equipment you're going to be wearing. Mainly a lot of wondrous items, rods and Ioun Stones. Well, that's still a wondrous item. But you're going to have a whole host, slew, and even a glut of magic items to consider and select. And this is not going to be comprehensively covering everything. I will be giving some examples of things that you probably want to avoid overall, but we are mainly going to be covering most of the greatest hits that are going to serve you well across a variety and multitude of campaigns. But before we get into all of that, if you're new here to the channel, go on down there, hit the subscribe button, and become a regular member here at the Gamer's Den. Or if you've already gone on ahead and listed yourself on that incredible roster of legendary heroes, then go on down to hit the like button and share the video far and wide. Now, let's go ahead and get going here, and we are going to kick things off with an item that is a little bit spendy. In fact, many of the items on this list are going to require a little bit of an expenditure in coin if you're buying them. However, it should be noted that as an Arcanist, granted any spellcasting class can have plenty of opportunity to dive into crafting magic items. The Arcanist, given the whole slew of abilities that you have behind you, including the ability to pick up item crafting feats through your arcane exploits, you can actually end up being ideally situated as a item crafting character without really meaningfully compromising your ability to function as a spellcaster, because again, you have so many more options available to you. So if you want to craft magic items, you're going to essentially be cutting the cost of most of these items in half. So that is something definitely worth keeping in mind. So we start with the Robe of Runes. Normally costing 44,000 gold pieces, this grants a +4 enhancement bonus to intelligence and allows the wearer to recall up to 4 spell levels as a free action that had been prepared then cast per day. So any spell slot that you have expended, you can recover at least up to 4 spell levels. That means you can recall 4 first level spells, 2 second level spells, 1 third and 1 first level, or 1 fourth level spell. And honestly, that's actually a pretty decent range for you to make use of right there, particularly second and third level spells, and on occasion 4th level spells. And the fact that you can do this as a free action makes it so much the better, because this will allow you to recall that spell without impacting your action economy any further. For 1 round after doing the recall, the wearer's spell save DCs and attack rolls made with spells gain a +2 enhancement bonus, which is incredible to have, because again, you already have means of increasing spell save DCs. And this is an enhancement bonus, which, if I'm remembering correctly, and I double checked this a couple of times, but feel free to fact check. I may be the master of lore, but I can still be capable of getting things wrong. But these should stack, because most of the other methods you have for increasing spell save DCs are not explicitly listed as enhancement bonuses. So these should stack together pretty nicely and make your spells that much more difficult to resist. And you're more likely to land them because you now have a +2 enhancement bonus to the attack rolls. And most attack rolls with spells are going to be ranged touch attacks, negating a target's armor pretty significantly. So awesome thing to have all the way around. Next is the Orange Prism Ioun Stone, costing 30,000 gold pieces. This adds a +1 to your caster level, and this is something uniquely good for the Arcanist as opposed to other classes because, again, you have other ways of increasing your caster level, allowing you to get more mileage out of spells in particular that depend on using your caster level. So this is going to be great for you. For other classes, it's certainly not bad, and most of the Ioun Stones are going to offer great bonuses, so definitely look into picking them up, especially anything that provides an enhancement to your initiative score in particular are going to be mechanically useful and pay dividends for you throughout the entirety of the time that you have access to it. Then we go on to the Mnemonic Vest, costing 5,000 gold pieces. This is basically a robe that lets you cast a scroll carried in it once a day without consuming the scroll, though any required components are still consumed. So this is great for those situational spells that you're not really going to necessarily have prepared on a regular basis. Though you are a bit of a spontaneous caster, you still learn and do a lot with your spells as a wizard does, which gives you an incredible amount of flexibility in both your ability to deploy spells and what you're able to learn and pick up. And the Mnemonic Vest will work pretty nicely for you, though it's one that will probably fall off in its usefulness as time goes on. It still is nice for those situational scrolls, and because its usefulness may fall off, it doesn't mean you necessarily have to get rid of it. If you have a handy haversack or a bag of holding or any other means of meaningfully and easily carrying excessive amounts of gear with you without compromising your travel speed or your relatively lower strength, then you can just toss this in that, and when you need it, if it's not in the immediate right in the midst of a battle kind of sense, then you can throw it on, stuff a scroll in the pocket, and fire it off and get everything rolling, then switch back over to your robe of runes or whatever your other items may be that you prefer to wear in the overall robe slot. Next, we have the Ring of Continuation, and this is great for just about any spellcaster. This will cost you, though, at 56,000 gold pieces, so definitely worth looking at for crafting on your own part. Extend a spell with target self that lasts 10 minutes per level or longer. It will now last 24 hours. So any of those spells that buff you up pretty nicely, like added layers of protection and the like, getting this to be able to last 24 hours is going to be huge, because now you can get your buffs in place and have them ready to go for essentially the whole day and not have to worry about doing anything else, allowing your ability to get spells out quicker, more reliably, and again, with minimizing the impact on your action economy, is going to be expanded pretty well. But another set of rings to look at are the Rings of Protection, costing you anywhere from 2,000 to 50,000 gold pieces depending on the amount of protection they provide. These rings provide a deflection bonus to AC ranging from a +1 to +5. So again, awesome to have. Now, you may have other classes that may want these first and foremost. Fighters will absolutely find them useful, but in particular, thinking of more like rogues, vigilantes, rangers, bards, characters who are going to more frequently be closer to the fighting but are more lightly armored. A fighter can still make good use out of it, but given that the fighter and paladin are going to be wearing heavier armors, they're generally going to be better protected, so ideally you want to throw this on the more lightly armored skirmish kind of characters. Spellcasters will still find these very useful though it should be noted that as you advance in level, the returns on it do get to be a little bit diminishing, because at a certain point your opponents are going to be bypassing your armor class pretty reliably, so you're going to be looking at other spells to help protect yourself. Anything that has a displacement effect, as an example, is probably going to help you out significantly more than a Ring of Protection will. That said, still handy to have, because any damage prevented is damage you don't have to worry yourself about. Next, speaking of displacements, we have the Minor Cloak of Displacement, costing 24,000 gold pieces. This provides a constant 20% miss chance on attacks directed at you. So 1 out of every 5 attacks is missing. Maybe more frequently if you have a great night and you're rolling incredibly lucky on a lot of attacks. And this is before you figure out anything, is this... like say the DM has rolled multiple attacks and he's got the iterative attacks marked out on, different colored dice and the like. So that way everybody can kind of keep track and know exactly what's going on. If you roll a 20% miss chance for each and every one of those, meaning the higher attack bonus attacks may actually end up missing you. And the lower and lower you go, the more likely it is that your armor class is going to come through and maybe just might actually save you from taking those other hits. So Cloak of Displacement, awesome to have. However, it's not quite as awesome as the Headband of Vast Intellect. Costing you anywhere from 4,000 to 36,000 gold pieces, you can gain either a +2, +4, or +6 enhancement bonus to your intelligence, which is your spellcasting stat. That is going to be absolutely awesome to have. That's bonus spells per day, that's higher spell save DCs, everything that you could possibly want as a powerful spellcasting class. Now, just bear in mind here that if you do end up with a Robe of Runes, that this is not going to stack together because they both provide enhancement bonuses. So it's either going to be a +4 or a +6 Headband of Vast Intellect that you're going to be wearing. Now, if you get a Robe of Runes, then the +4 is definitely a lot less useful in that instance, so try to get a +6 when you can, or craft it for yourself if you're able to, because that's going to slash the cost in half, and now you have something that is providing the highest level of intelligence bonus to yourself, and you can still have the Robe of Runes handy. While you're not getting the enhancement bonus to your intelligence out of it, you're still getting the benefits of being able to recall spell levels and then getting a +2 enhancement bonus to spell save DCs and your attack rolls with spells. Also, I didn't list it on here, but consider looking at the headband that provides alluring charisma with the same costs and same bonuses, but to your charisma score, particularly if you're using your charisma to access a broader dearth and have better DCs for your arcane exploits, because then having a headband of alluring charisma will help to boost that, and that will be useful as well. And if you're especially lucky, then maybe get one of those headbands that increases 2 of the mental stats and focus on your charisma and your intelligence being the most important. The next item we're looking at, though, is the Cloak of Resistance, and this is a classic that all adventurers will love. I list it for basically every single class. This will cost from anywhere from 1,000 to 25,000 gold pieces and gives a +1 to +5 resistance bonus to all saves. Now, since everybody in your group, in your adventuring party, will find this useful, there may be a little bit of competition for these. However, 1,000 gold pieces isn't all that bad. Even the +2 bonus, though I don't have the price listed here right offhand, if you can make that yourself, you're still slashing the cost in half, and providing a +2 bonus to everybody's saves is going to be useful. Paladins are going to love it, even though they can get their charisma bonus as a bonus to their saves. Monks are going to love it, even though they have a good progression in all of their saves. Everybody is still going to love having these, so this is an item that's definitely worth crafting, or even if you find a replacement that provides a higher bonus, the lesser bonus item doesn't necessarily have to just be chucked or sold. This can go to any number of NPC helpers or followers. If the bard has the leadership feat, and your DM hasn't found a way of pulling back the power on that, any of those NPCs provided via leadership are going to find the Cloak of Resistance useful. So definitely something worth keeping in mind. But now we go on to the lesser to greater rods of Quicken Metamagic. These will cost anywhere from 35,000 to 170,000 gold pieces. This allows you to cast up to 3 spells per day as if using the Quicken Metamagic feat without having to use a higher level spell slot. Now, the difference between these is the lesser rod will allow you to affect spells from level 1, level 2, and up to level 3. So up to 3rd level spells can be affected as if you've used the Quicken Metamagic feat on them without increasing their spellcasting slot. You get just a regular rod of Quicken Metamagic. You affect spells of 4th level, 5th level, and 6th level. And then, of course, with Greater, you're able to affect the remaining spells from 7th all the way up to 9th. And you're able to cast them as if you're using Quicken Metamagic. That's amazing. It's the only way to cast a 9th level spell with a Quicken Metamagic, because otherwise you have to increase the spell level, and there are no 10th or 11th level spell slots, or 12th level, because if I remember right, Quicken is at least a +3. So yeah, these things are great to have. Most likely a Greater Rod of Quicken Metamagic is probably going to be a bit of a loot haul, or maybe a high level quest reward from a more powerful or older spellcaster, unless you end up crafting it, in which case you're cutting the cost in half, which again, awesome. It's still going to be supremely expensive, but still, great option to have. Next are Bracers of Armor, costing you from anywhere between 1,000 to 64,000 gold pieces. These grant an armor bonus of up to +1 up to a +8 armor bonus. The +4 armor bonus costs 16,000 gold pieces and costs 8,000 if you craft it. These can also notably be given armor enchantments, but they can't exceed the +8 limit. So you can either have a full +8 to armor class, or say you wanted to layer on a couple of enhancements for that apply to armor. Then say you leave it at a +5 bonus to your armor class, then you gain the further benefits of other enhancements, like let's say the Fortify enhancement to protect you against critical hits, to have a percentage chance of negating critical hits and just making them regular attacks. Certainly absolutely worthwhile to have, and that is definitely worth the cost, because again, at a certain point, attack bonus is going to just exceed armor class, and your opponents are going to have ways around armor class and negate its effectiveness. But everybody's going to land a critical hit now and then, and a critical hit is going to bypass your armor class. So having a chance to just make that a regular hit, so you're not taking excessive amounts of damage and potentially getting yourself knocked out of the fight, absolutely worth looking at and worth doing. And again, because you're in a position to be able to craft magic items, there's definitely a great way for you to reduce those costs further and make that much more manageable. Then we go on from the Bracers of Armor to Rune Stones of Power. These will cost you from between 1,000 to 162,000 gold pieces, but once per day, a spontaneous spellcaster can expend the power in a runestone to cast a spell instead of using a spell slot, and these recharge after 24 hours, so absolutely amazing to have. Definitely, again, because this is a wondrous item, something that you're going to be able to craft, you can reduce the cost of these significantly. So they're absolutely worth grabbing. If you find them as treasure, keep them, even if it's just affecting your first level spells. These are going to be incredibly useful to you. And lastly, for a good item, and you'll see why in a moment, we have the Spell Lattice. Costing anywhere from 1,000 to 81,000 gold pieces. This is a transparent crystal with a 3D representation of the spell within it. When an Arcanist holds the lattice, and so long as the spell within is one that's on their spell list, they can use their spell slots to cast the contained spell as if it were one of their prepared spells. But you're also able to copy the spell down to a spell book, and because you can learn like a wizard, you don't necessarily have to keep a spell lattice around. Now, if you find this in a shop and you find a way to copy the spell down without any particular shopkeeper or their workers noticing you, fantastic. You've engaged in a bit of arcane thievery, which is just incredible. But I would think most places that sell something like this with any kind of a spell at a spell level where you really want to have it, they're probably going to have this tucked away and in a place where you're not going to have the time to be able to sit down and copy it, either without somebody noticing you or just having it be physically impossible for you to really do. And that's why this is kind of a good item. It's not a bad one, certainly, and I might be overrating it slightly because I just really think it's a cool concept and I really like it. It's a unique, interesting item, and certainly I'm finding it interesting enough to want to keep talking about. But as far as its effectiveness goes, kind of a bit of a hit and miss one, but even still, this is really neat, really cool, and the fact that you can copy the spell information down from it is awesome. And as far as I know from the description, it doesn't say anything explicitly about it causing any negative effects to the item in question. Not that that's a really big or frequent concern, but just something to note there, that there doesn't seem to be a lot of downsides to just even having it to be an interesting mantelpiece that you already copied the magic down from. Like, it might be worth it just for that, particularly if it's a spell that you really need to have. Like, it happens to be one that, say, we covered under this guide as a really good, really quality spell for you to have. Like, if you find one with the wish spell in it, and you don't have access to the wish spell because of whatever choices you made, like say you just had that moment of, I got caught up on all these other really cool spells and I completely forgot to select wish, talk to the DM wants me to just wait a bit because next level up I get to just swap spells around anyways and do all of that. So there's reason to, maybe you just had a moment, but spell lattice put there. Yeah, it's definitely a great opportunity to scoop that up real quick. That's a wish spell is certainly worth 81,000 gold pieces. But of course, what do you think? Go on down to the comments below and let me know your thoughts. Did you like today's video? Did you dislike it? What other items might you recommend for players out there? Certainly I didn't cover weapons or armor because at a certain point, more so than any other class for a full arcane spellcasting class, unless you're specializing in buffing yourself and making yourself an ungodly combat tank through your magic, the weapons really aren't a huge concern, and even then you have spells to get around that, to generate your own weapons that you automatically count as proficient with. So really, it just didn't seem like the best use of time. But of course, if you believe I'm wrong, then just go down and lend your insights in the comments down below so that we can engage in discussion and others have the opportunity to learn. Certainly, there are people out there with a greater degree of expertise, knowledge, and recall off the top of their heads than what I have. So again, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. But with all that said, thank you all so very much for your time. Good gaming to you all, and you all have yourselves a good night.